Using the flame path technique, Jin Taekyung rushed at his opponent. He leaped high into the air, his spear ready, with golden flames covering his whole body. His opponent reacted fast. Jin focused all his strength on the attack. The opponent was shocked by the sudden rush and quickly pulled back his sword. At the same time, Jin launched his Ghost Jade Finger Strike. But the opponent blocked it with his sword. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed through the hall. A few moments later, Jin slammed into the wall at full speed. The wall cracked, and rocks flew everywhere. Jin gripped his spear to push himself up. He stood, surprised, and muttered, "Damn bastard, you can fight a bit, huh?" The opponent's broken sword hung from a wooden pillar. He stared at it, blood dripping from his arm. He turned to Jin and asked, "That spear, it's a divine weapon, isn't it? What martial art was that?" Jin stood straight, brushing dust from his clothes. "Divine? That sounds like too much. It's the take it and drop dead technique." He took a step forward with a cold smile. "I'm starting to see why the Blood Lord called you arrogant. And why he wanted to kill you so badly. You're dangerous." Jin laughed after hearing that. "Yeah, I am kind of dangerous. Maybe that's why women keep avoiding me." The opponent stepped closer. "It's already impressive that someone like Changpon reached the peak realm at such a young age. But you went way beyond what I expected. To wound me with just that level of skill." When Jin heard about Changpon, he looked surprised and thought, "So you really broke through the wall?" The opponent held his sword in his injured hand, staying careful. "My 4 takes to move 1,000 Jin technique was perfect. Yet you still couldn't fully block it. And all from the strike of a simple peak-level youth." Jin flexed his muscles and grinned. "Guess I'm stronger than I look. Call me a physical transcendent master." His opponent stepped closer and said, "A physical transcendent master? Are you trying to say monstrous strength beyond reason? But compared to the real monsters I've seen, your strength is just a drop in the bucket." He stopped and made Jin an offer. "I'll ask you one more time. Give up your false hopes and surrender. Do that, and I'll personally ask the Heavenly Lord to put you to good use." Even the Blood Lord wouldn't dare touch you. Jin waved his hand and tapped 4 fingers to his forehead. Actually, I just thought of an even better idea." He pointed his finger at the opponent. "You should join the righteous sections. Stop wasting time in that dark heaven or whatever. I'll talk to Sword Saint Grandpa and get you a nice position." The opponent gave a cold smile. "You're too hot-blooded for your age. If you're hoping for the same kind of luck as just now, forget it. I know that strike was your full strength." Hearing that, Jin froze for a moment. Then he pointed his spear at the opponent and laughed. "Ha! That's the dumbest thing I've heard all year. What, did the neighbor's mud give you lessons in nonsense?" The opponent said, "Oh ho, my, what a pity." Dark aura swirled around his body as he readied his sword for the fight. "Don't regret it when you face the Blood Lord." Hearing that, Jin suddenly rushed at him with full speed. "Everyone who's ever said that to me is already bowing their heads before the King of Hell." The opponent swung his sword, sending a dark aura blade toward Jin. Jin bent down to dodge it and thought, "Damn, should I have just gone all out with one slash from the start? No, failing to land that sneak attack hurt, but betting everything on an all-or-nothing move isn't smart. Especially now, when I have someone to protect." The opponent prepared to attack again with his sword. He launched a dark 3-blade sword strike. The blade shaped like sharp edges and cut deep into the floor. Jin pushed himself backward and steadied his stance, still thinking the same thoughts. The opponent held his sword straight at Jin, building up for a big attack. On Jin's side, he poured 30 points into his agility and strength to prepare a counter. Then the opponent unleashed a dark, murderous aura attack that raced toward Jin, slicing through everything in its path. Jin leaped to the corner of the rooftop. The opponent noticed and thought, he got even faster? Jin used his speed and vanished from the rooftop. He thought, there's still a way to strike his blind spot. Suddenly, his spear nearly hit the opponent. But the opponent smiled and dodged it with dark aura flowing over his hand. "A good attempt, but..." Before he could finish, Jin said, "Bingo." He poured in his full strength and golden aura for more power. His opponent still blocked it. This much won't be enough. Jin quickly thought, "Command, inventory open, store." His presence suddenly shifted to the floor. He unleashed his golden flame palm to attack. Their eyes locked in surprise at the sudden change in position. The fiery flame divine palm struck the opponent's chest directly. The opponent held his ground with a pained look on his face. Jin gritted his teeth and used his full strength to follow up with the flame-extinguishing divine fist, pushing him back. The flames sent the opponent flying into the wall. It hit so hard that the whole wall collapsed. He clutched his hand to his mouth and sat on the floor. "I definitely blocked the spear, but what happened?" Jin Taekyung walked toward his opponent and said, "Same goes for the monstrous strength, Gwarryok Nansen, that you believe in." His opponent coughed for a moment, then said, "I see." He asked, "Then your sudden speed was because of that?" Jin stood right in front of him and replied, "Yeah. Because of you, a few lives got cut short. Though they were all going to die anyway." Hearing that, the opponent looked serious and asked, "What do you mean by that?" Jin replied, "We're in the underground prison. Don't you notice something strange?" After a few minutes of thought, the opponent said, "There are no prisoners." Jin said, "Correct." The opponent asked again, "What did you do? Did you use the absorption technique Hupjong Dbiop on the prisoners?" Jin said happily, "You could say that, yes. Thanks to it, I gained 80 points. Then he asked his opponent, has your curiosity been satisfied now? The opponent was still sitting on the floor from the critical hit earlier. He replied, the absorption technique, so that's it. Jean opened his eyes wide with a serious look. Then drop the lousy acting and get up. And cut it out with that fake coughing that doesn't even bring up blood. Hearing that, the opponent removed his hand from his face and smiled like a madman. He tried to stand on his feet and said, damn, looks like I've got no talent for this stuff. Looking at him like this, Jean thought, look at this damn bastard, he's perfectly fine. Then Jean pointed his spear at the opponent and said, isn't it cheating for a bastard like you to wear gear too? The opponent didn't understand at first. Jean said, that thing you're wearing underneath, you bastard. The opponent replied, ah, you mean the black dragon armor. What, can't an old man keep a relic or two? Jean gritted his teeth and thought nervously, figured. That's why none of my strikes landed. Damn it. At this rate, white flame is all I can rely on. Or maybe I should go straight for the skull next time. His opponent gave a cold smile and said, you're such an interesting young lad. Your strength and tactics are clever, but I like that you don't give up. Hearing that, Jean Taekyung replied, so what? You want a date? The opponent stood right in front of Jean and said, I appreciate the offer, but I already have a lover. Anyway, I've seen everything you can do. Then he poured all his dark aura into his sword. The dark energy fully covered his body and flowed around him like flying birds. In a cold voice, he said, it's my turn now. Jean stared at the dark aura, frozen in amazement. He thought, shit, he's way stronger than I expected. Nervously, he said, looks like I'm in danger. Round 2 of the fight is about to start. The dark aura exploded from the demon lord's sword and slammed into Jean Taekyung. The shockwave hit the cave pillars and shattered them. Stones fell everywhere. The demon lord rushed forward, stabbing with his black sword. Jean Taekyung barely blocked it with his golden spear. Dark energy flew in all directions, breaking more of the cave. The demon lord laughed like a madman and attacked again and again. Jean Taekyung rolled aside, spun his spear, and managed to hold himself a little. But the demon lord's eyes glowed with black aura. He smiled wildly, raised his sword, and unleashed a huge attack. It hit Jean Taekyung hard. Jean Taekyung flew backward, bounced off the ground several times, and crashed down. He clenched his teeth in pain and muttered, what a lunatic. Suddenly he felt danger. His eyes opened wide. A cross-shaped wave of dark aura was flying straight at him. Fear gripped him, but he planted his feet, held his spear tight, and thought, I have no choice, I must parry. He focused all his remaining power, gathered golden aura around his spear, and shouted, one flash eradication strike, Ilsium. The golden strike shot forward and crashed into the dark cross. Even the demon lord looked surprised. A huge explosion followed. Dust filled the entire cave. When the dust slowly cleared, Jean Taekyung was breathing heavily, covered in sweat. The ground in front of him was completely destroyed. He still held his spear, staring ahead. A shadow appeared in the dust. The demon lord walked out slowly, unhurt except for a small wound on his shoulder. Jean Taekyung got ready to fight again and cursed, damn it. The demon lord smiled and said, no need to be upset. That was a very strong move. For a moment, it really sent a chill through me. Jean Taekyung asked, breathing hard, let me ask one thing. If I had used that strike from the beginning, could I have killed you? The demon lord thought for a second and answered, you might have taken an arm, maybe more. But you would still be the one who died. He calmly added, why keep fighting? It's pointless now. Jean Taekyung had almost no energy left, but he shouted, not yet. He created illusions of himself and attacked from 3 directions at once. His spear hit nothing but air. Ha! He gasped. A cold voice came from behind him. Behind you. Jean Taekyung quickly turned and struck with his fist wrapped in golden aura. The demon lord easily stepped aside, placed his hand on Jean Taekyung's chest, and said, that surprised me, truly. A second later, a powerful blast from the demon lord's palm sent Jean Taekyung flying far away. He crashed hard and spat blood on the ground. The demon lord calmly put his sword away and said, you can be proud. You lasted more than 300 seconds against me when I was fighting seriously. Jean Taekyung lay on the ground, body shaking from pain. He muttered, 300 seconds. Am I supposed to be happy about that? The demon lord opened his arms and smiled. You don't look happy, so let me say it differently. The great masters like Cheon Sin and I and the elders only lasted about 5 seconds. Jean Taekyung's eyes filled with anger. They all died in the end, you monster. Blood dripped from his mouth. He pressed a hand to his broken chest and tried to stand. The demon lord looked surprised. You still have something left? Good. That's what I expect from a crazy monster like you. Show me. Jean Taekyung's face was pale, his strength almost gone. He clenched his fists and growled, shut up and fight, you bastard. The demon lord's smile vanished. He suddenly kicked Jean Taekyung hard in the stomach. Jean Taekyung slammed into the cave wall, but he stood up again and swung his fist, shouting, you bastard. The demon lord caught his wrist easily, twisted it, and punched him in the ribs. Jean Taekyung screamed in pain, give up, the demon lord said coldly. The result won't change. Jean Taekyung, full of rage, managed to land one weak punch on the demon lord's chest and yelled, are you waiting for help like last time in Hunan? You'll be disappointed. The demon lord disappeared and reappeared beside him. He punched Jean Taekyung in the jaw. Who could possibly help you now? Jin Taekyung tried to hit again, but the Demon Lord bent low, dodged, and said, "Soon, the entire Tang clan of Sichuan will be wiped out." The Demon Lord punched Jin Taekyung hard in the face and said, "So the guy who fought me alone earlier was the Sword Saint's successor? The old man will hear about this in half a month, right?" He hit him again. Blood splashed across Jin Taekyung's face. Using blinding speed, the Demon Lord threw many punches. Jin Taekyung couldn't even react. "If it wasn't him," the Demon Lord said calmly, "then it was your master who still hasn't woken up?" A final, powerful punch smashed into Jin Taekyung's face. Blood poured from his mouth. His body flew back, crashed into the rock wall, and slid down. He barely stayed on his feet. His whole body shook from terrible pain. He screamed. The Demon Lord smiled. "Holding on changes nothing. After today, the Tang clan, Ame sect, and Qingcheng sect will all be destroyed. And all of you." Before he could finish, Jin Taekyung gathered his last strength and hit the Demon Lord right on the chin. The hit was so strong that the Demon Lord stumbled back, shocked for a moment. He touched his chin and rubbed it. "You really are dangerous," he said. Jin Taekyung gritted his teeth, breathing heavily through the pain. "I should have smashed your mouth, you monster." The Demon Lord laughed loudly. "That's funny coming from you." Then he kicked Jin Taekyung's sides left and right, breaking his ribs. Jin Taekyung screamed and fell to the ground. The Demon Lord turned to leave. "I'll send some sorcerers later to heal you a little. Just sit there. I'll come back soon. If you're still alive, I'll take you with me. If you're dead, that's fine too." He glanced at Jin Taekyung one last time and walked away. Jin Taekyung tried to stop him, but his body was too broken. Arms, legs, ribs, everything hurt too much. He couldn't move. The Demon Lord left him alone. Jin Taekyung lay shaking in pain. He thought, "It's over." He pictured the Tang clan, Ame, and Qingqing burning in flames. He thought of Chongpeng, the old man, and the divine doctor. "Who got caught up in this disaster? I'm sorry, everyone," he whispered to himself. Then he remembered the warning from the game manual: if the player dies in the game, you die in real life. "I never thought I would die like this. At least I didn't drag Hyuk Mujin and Goon Ji Bang into this with me." Suddenly, he heard a strange noise. At first it was faint, then it grew louder. "What is that sound?" he thought. "Am I imagining things because I'm dying?" The noise got closer and closer. Then, out of nowhere, an old man appeared in front of him. Jin Taekyung's eyes widened in shock. "Shion Ryak Ma," he whispered. Deep inside the Western Demon Lord's underground palace, everything was shaking hard. Rocks fell from the ceiling. The Demon Lord thought, that fight with Jin Taekyung damaged this place too much. The whole cave might collapse soon. He held me back for too long. I need to hurry. He reached a huge gate. "This is it," he said, and slashed it with his hand. The gate broke into pieces. Suddenly, a powerful palm strike flew toward him. The Demon Lord caught it easily. "So what?" He laughed. He looked at the man's hand and saw a shining poison ring. The Patriarch was right. "You really are the new divine doctor," he said. With a quick move, he pulled the ring off the man's finger. "You don't look like I expected." The Demon Lord said. "You're a famous doctor, yet you attack me without fear." He studied the ring. "This is the poison ring. My heavenly lord will be very happy." The divine doctor shouted, "What are you doing here, you monster?" The Demon Lord smiled. "Don't worry. Your job is finished." He kicked the divine doctor hard. The man flew backward and crashed into the wall like a ball. Then the Demon Lord turned to the Fire King. "Now you. Someone wants you alive. You're coming with me." He started lifting the Fire King with his power. At that moment, a loud cracking sound filled the cave. The Demon Lord looked around. The cave is collapsing already? But it wasn't just a crack. A whole wall exploded. From the smoke and dust, golden flames spun in a huge circle. The Demon Lord's eyes widened. "Jin Taekyung. You are the strongest after all." Flashback, a short time earlier, the old man, Shion Ryakma, was still chained to the stone with heavy shackles. He bit his own wrist, used the blood, and broke the stone chains with one powerful strike. He ran as fast as he could to find Jin Taekyung. Jin was lying on the ground, covered in blood, barely alive. The old man picked up a sharp piece of wood and held it to Jin's throat. "You killed every prisoner here," he growled. Jin answered weakly, "So what? Then why did you spare me?" Jin coughed. "Why would I kill you? You never hurt me." The old man pressed the wood harder. "Answer properly, or I'll cut your tongue out." Jin smiled a little. "Just wait a bit longer. My fight is almost over." "Tell me the truth, Jin." "I didn't want to kill you," Jin said. "I killed everyone else, but I know you. You work for the demonic cult, but deep inside, you're not evil. You're a good man." He continued, "Saving one good person from the cult is better than killing a bad guy on the other side. That's what I believe. If I had killed you, I would be no different from that Western Demon Lord. I never want to be like him. That's why I let you live." But inside his heart, Jin was actually thinking something else. "I hesitated to kill you because if I had killed an old man who never really harmed anyone, I would truly become a monster. I was scared of becoming like him." The old man looked at Jin Taekyung and gave a tired smile. "We're both idiots," he said. "My life is already finished. His left arm was bleeding heavily from where he had cut it. He took a deep breath, gathered all the QI left in his body, and blew a white flame from his mouth. My body is too old and broken, he said. There's no point in living longer. Jin Taekyung stared at him, confused. The old man raised his hand. A bright white flame burned around his palm. You still have a chance, he said. Take my QI. Jin tried to stop him. No, don't. But it was too late. The old man pressed his palm against Jin's chest. A rush of hot, powerful energy poured into Jin's body. Every broken bone, every wound started to heal in seconds. Strength filled him like never before. The old man's body shook. He used the very last of his strength to give everything he had. When it was done, he fell to his knees. Kill the Western Demon Lord. For me, he whispered. Then his eyes closed and he died. Jin Taekyung slowly stood up. White and golden flames danced around him. All his pain was gone. He felt stronger than ever. He looked at the Western Demon Lord and smiled coldly. Your daddy's here. The Demon Lord's eyes went wide. He couldn't believe what he saw. Jin turned to the Divine Doctor and the Fire King. The Divine Doctor also looked him, blood dripping from his mouth. Jin's heart hurt to see them like that. Anger burned inside him. He faced the Demon Lord again. Only family and disciples are allowed in the patient room, you piece of trash. He took one step forward. The Demon Lord was shaking. He thought to himself, those wounds should have killed him. Even 100 healers couldn't save him that fast. This man is a walking miracle. Jin waved his hand lazily. What? Happy to see me? Why are you shaking? The Demon Lord pulled out his sword. Do you know how many years I've lived? Jin shrugged. No. And I don't care. The Demon Lord laughed. Honestly, I stopped counting long ago. If I hadn't found fun things to do, I would have chosen death from boredom. Jin reached out. The rocks on the ground shook, and his golden spears flew back into his hands. Then just die now, Jin said. I'll even get on my knees and beg you to die. The Demon Lord wrapped himself in dark demonic energy. A crazy smile spread across his face. Sorry, but I'm having the best time of my life right now. Meeting you today is just like the day I met the Heavenly Lord long ago. His eyes went wild. He jumped high into the air and brought his sword down with all his power. Please, he shouted, last as long as you can. Jin jumped up to meet him, golden spears ready. I have a favor too, he shouted back. Die as fast as you can. Their weapons crashed together with a huge explosion of light and darkness. Both of them smiled like madmen, ready to fight until one of them was dead. Jin fights the Western Demon Lord with his golden flame spears. The Demon Lord counters with dark demonic aura. Their powers clash in midair and explode, shaking the ground. Both are incredibly strong and move at blinding speed. Jin grips his spear tightly and charges again. The Demon Lord swings his black sword with full force. Their eyes lock, full of tension and killing intent. Even so, the Demon Lord is still stronger. Jin jumps back 3 steps and says calmly, I'm 3 steps behind you. From this distance, Jin has the advantage. His golden flame is perfect for long-range attacks. He switches weapons, pulls out his white flame whip, and swings it hard. The whip cuts through the air like a burning snake. The Demon Lord dodges easily and fires a sharp 3-finger energy blast. Jin twists his body and avoids it, then rushes forward and appears right in front of the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord smirks and unleashes an even stronger attack. Jin barely dodges and lands directly in front of him, now too close for the whip to be useful. Jin quickly puts the white flame away. The Demon Lord kicks off his broken sword, and the two start fighting hand to hand. Powerful energy swirls around them. Jin grits his teeth, blood drips from the corner of his mouth. He thinks to himself, after absorbing the old master's energy, I jumped 3 or 4 levels. But it's still not enough. What kind of monster is this guy? The Western Demon Lord laughs. Impressive. You've already touched the wall of Supreme Peak level. You're a strong kid, but this is your limit. Until you break that wall, you can't beat me. Jin wipes the blood from his lip and smiles. Strong kid? Let me show you what a real strong kid can do. In his mind, he quickly opens his status window. When he received the Elder's energy earlier, he had gained 100 stat points. Now he puts 50 points into strength and 50 into agility, his muscles surge with new power. He grabs the Demon Lord's arm and twists it hard. The Demon Lord winces. Your strength is insane. But that's all you've got. He leaps and punches Jin in the face, sending him flying back. Your limit is clear. The Demon Lord shouts and rushes in with a storm of punches and kicks. Jin blocks most of them and thinks, calm down. I already fought this guy once before. I won't fall for the same trick twice. As the Demon Lord throws another punch, Jin catches his fist, locks the arm, and says, got you. This arm is mine now. Just as he's about to snap it, Jin feels something cold on the Demon Lord's finger, a poison ring. Jin's eyes widen. Oh? What's this? A poison ring? Before he can react, the Demon Lord punches him hard in the chest with his free hand. Jin flies back, crashes to the ground. And suddenly starts laughing. The Western Demon Lord frowns. Have you lost your mind? Why are you laughing? Jin sits up, holding the poison ring between his fingers. Lost my mind? Wait till you hear this, you'll fly into the sky from shock. He spins the ring and grins. Look what happens when someone's most precious treasure jumps into the enemy's hand all by itself. The demon lord stares at his empty finger in horror. Jean continues teasing, a second ago you were punching me, and this little ring just slipped off your finger and flew straight into my pocket. It must really like me. Look how pretty it is. The demon lord's face turns red with rage. Give it back. That ring is not for you. Jean stands up, still smiling. Why do you demons want to collect everything? First the poisonous drink, then the bloodlord took the Puthar relic. What are you planning? Are you trying to gather 7 magic items so a dragon appears and grants you a wish or something? He laughs even louder. Sorry, buddy. There are no magic dragon balls in this world. The demon lord grew even angrier and shouted, I told you to hand it over. Jean Taekyung just laughed and teased him. He showed the poison ring, then quickly hid it in his left hand. With his right hand, he raised his middle finger to show he would never give it up. The demon lord roared, you bastard. Dark demonic aura turned pitch black, swirling around his feet, then flowing out to his hands. He poured it into his sword and growled, I'll say it one last time, give it to me. Jean Taekyung grinned inside and thought, perfect, he's losing his cool all by himself. This is great for me. Out loud he said, here's my final answer, no. He sent his golden aura rushing into his spear. The demon lord pointed his sword, now wrapped in dark aura, straight at him and said, you brought this on yourself. Then he unleashed the dark energy. Jean Taekyung looked confused for a second. He followed the black aura with his eyes and realized it wasn't coming for him, it was heading toward the Divine Doctor and the Fire King. No! Jean Taekyung yelled in fury. He used his full speed and rushed to protect the Divine Doctor. The Divine Doctor sensed danger and turned around just as Jean Taekyung arrived. Jean Taekyung poured all his golden chi aura into blocking the dark attack. A huge explosion rocked the area. Dust and rocks flew everywhere. When the dust settled a little, the Divine Doctor heard a weak voice. He opened his eyes. Are you all right? Jean Taekyung asked. Blood dripped from his mouth. He stood in front of the Divine Doctor, having taken the full blow. Young Master Jean. The Divine Doctor cried, his voice shaking. Suddenly, Jean Taekyung coughed up a lot of blood. It spilled onto the ground. His legs gave out, and he fell to his knees. The Divine Doctor left the Fire King and ran to him. Young Master Jean, are you all right? Jean Taekyung knelt there, breathing hard. He thought, damn it. I just healed not long ago. How did this happen again? He glanced at the terrible wound on his back. Far away, the demon lord stood glaring at him, still filled with rage. The whole area was falling apart, rocks crashing down, dust everywhere. Jean could barely stand. Blood dripped from his mouth. He looked at the Western demon lord and said, this is a cheap trick. The demon lord stepped forward. Cheap? I gave you a chance to leave, but you walked right up to me. Now you've touched something you were never meant to touch. Jean grinned weakly. What, it sounds like I sexually assaulted you or something. Relax, old man, you're way too old for that. Blood still dripping, Jean continued, so that myriad poison ring is really that important to you? You couldn't find it, huh? Too bad. It's mine now, and you're never getting it back. He kept talking. Take your servants and get out of here. The ring is gone forever. The demon lord's eyes widened in shock and anger. He stepped closer. You have no right to threaten me. I'll kill you and your entire team and take the ring by force. Jean spoke softly. You still don't understand. The ring is in my inventory. You can kill me 1,000 times, it won't help you. In his mind, Jean thought, this guy has no clue what an inventory is. Explaining won't do any good. Out loud, he warned, one more step and I'll crush the ring right now. I'll turn it to dust. Leave while you can. The demon lord ignored him and stepped forward again. Jin's face turned serious. You think I'm joking? He pulled out the poison ring and squeezed it as hard as he could. The demon lord smirked. A divine relic, and you think your bare hands can break it? Jean used all his power. Blood poured from his palm, but the ring didn't even get a scratch. He stared in shock. The demon lord laughed. A weak human dares to touch a divine artifact? Jean quickly stored the ring again and grabbed his golden spear. The demon lord's eyes grew cold. Sorry, blood lord. I'll kill this boy myself. A wave of dark demonic aura exploded from his body. A brutal fight began. Punches and strikes shook the ground. Dust filled the air. The Divine Doctor and the Fire King lay unconscious, unable to help. Jean kept attacking with his golden spear. The demon lord blocked every strike with his hand, then slapped the spear away and punched Jean with terrifying force. Jean flew backward, crashed hard, and blood poured from his mouth. He could barely move. The demon lord walked over, hit him again, and Jean fell screaming. Still think you can win? The demon lord asked. Jean coughed blood but smiled. This is nothing. I haven't even started yet. Suddenly, Jean grabbed the demon lord's leg with both hands and squeezed with all the strength he had left. The demon lord shouted, "What are you doing? Let go." He punched Jean over and over. But Jean refused to release his grip. In his head, Jean thought, "I was ready to die with you from the very beginning." Crack. Jean broke the demon lord's leg. The demon lord screamed in pain, "You lunatic. What have you done?" And collapsed. Jean thought, "This is my chance. Now. His body felt like it was breaking apart, but he forced himself up with his hands. Golden flames covered his fists. He jumped high and attacked the fallen demon lord with everything he had. The demon lord looked up in fear and shouted, "Jin Taekyung." Jin roared back, "Today you die, demon lord." He thought, did I do it? Is this the end? Then everything froze. A strange feeling hit Jin, the same feeling he had once felt while fighting the merciless swordsman Huang Boum. Every cell in his body screamed danger. Time seemed to stop behind the Jin Taekyung. The broken demonic sword suddenly flew straight at Jin's back. This is it. I'm dead, Jin thought. At the very last moment, Jin rolled to the side and dodged the attack. The demon lord's eyes went wide in shock. Jin stared at the flying sword for a split second. Too late. The broken blade spun in the air, turned, and stabbed straight into Jin Taekyung's stomach. Ugh! Jin flew backward and crashed hard against a huge rock. Blood poured from his mouth. His body shook with terrible pain. The demon lord, standing on his one good leg, looked shocked. You dodged my chi-controlled sword? He limped closer and laughed coldly. You learned a new skill right in the middle of our fight? That's why I really can't let you live. Jin lay on the ground, half unconscious, every breath hurting. In his foggy mind he thought, learn something new. Is that what just happened? But it was too late now. The demon lord picked up his dark sword again. Black aura burned around the blade like fire. He smiled like a madman and said, "You were truly amazing, kid." Jin could barely move. He forced out weak words. You. Stupid. Bastard. The demon lord stopped for a second, then raised his sword high with all his power, ready to bring it down and end Jin's life. Suddenly, a strong, clear voice shouted across the ruined battlefield, "Stop right there."
Just then, a vision appears from behind. The Northern Heavenly Lord stops. He turns his head, and his eyes widen. It's Jin's master, the Firefist King. The Firefist King says, "If you hurt even a hair on my disciple's head, you will die." He unleashes his full fire energy. It feels like a wave of flames washing over everything. The Northern Heavenly Lord stares in shock at the Firefist King. Rage burns in the Firefist King's eyes. He steps forward slowly, releasing all his power. The Northern Heavenly Lord thinks to himself, of all times, that ancient demon is about to wake up. This is bad. I have no choice. Energy builds in his hands, speeding up. The Firefist King grows angrier. His fury makes the air burn. The Northern Heavenly Lord warns coldly, "Stop right there. If the Firefist King takes one more step, your disciple dies today." He grips Jin's body with his inner energy, ready to crush it in an instant. The Firefist King's eyes turn red. He roars, "Your guts have grown. What do you really want?" His voice echoes, "Kill yourself." And everything goes silent. Then Fire King adds, "You're weaker than I thought," barking like a street dog. The Northern Heavenly Lord smiles faintly, unbothered. They say masters and disciples look alike. Your rude talk proves it. He glances at Jin. Your disciple is in bad shape, but he's starting to wake up. Half conscious, Jin hears the Northern Heavenly Lord say to his master, "Accept my offer. Then you and your disciple live. Refuse, and I snap his neck. We'll fight to the death." The Northern Heavenly Demon Lord smiled to himself and said to the Firefist King, "You're not even fully recovered yet. Are you sure you can beat me?" The Firefist King clenched his fists in anger. He looked at Jin Taekyung, who was in terrible shape, then muttered something under his breath. Finally, he spoke loudly to the Demon Lord, "Keep your promise." The Demon Lord answered with a calm smile, "Of course." But inside, he thought, "That's a lie. My word means nothing." If that boy from Shangxi had just a little more time, he would have broken through the transcendence wall. "I must kill him now, before he becomes even stronger," he smirked and thought, "Heaven itself is on my side today." In the middle of the huge ruined battlefield, the Firefist King and the Northern Heavenly Demon Lord faced each other. The Firefist King said quietly, "Enough." The Demon Lord looked confused for a moment. Suddenly, the Firefist King roared, "You disgusting monster. You're even worse than last time." Before the Demon Lord could answer, Jin Taekyung, who still seemed unconscious, moved like lightning. With one twist of his body, he grabbed the Demon Lord's arm and tore it off like it was paper. Blood sprayed out like a fountain, splashing all over the Demon Lord. The Northern Heavenly Lord swings his sword to kill Jin. But the Firefist King blocks him and punches his stomach hard. "I told you not to touch my disciple." The Firefist King fires a blazing palm strike. Flames rip through the Northern Heavenly Lord's belly. A minute earlier Jin feels half awake. This must be a dream. I'm alive. Did Master wake up 5 days ago? A system message appears, "You completed all quest chains. Your devotion and sacrifice earn a great reward." Jeek Chagang wakes from his long sleep. Jin levels up. His health fully recovers. Master's voice echoes in his mind, "How long will you stay like that?" Jin thinks, dream or real? My body feels weak. Hard to think. If it's real, let's fight. In his daze, Jin breaks the Northern Heavenly Lord's arm. His ears ring. His vision blurs. He sees Master's hazy image. Master smiles. It's been ages since I saw that lightning-marked fool. Jean snaps, fully awake. System message, you leveled up to the Transcendent Realm. It congratulates him. Blazing Fire Divine Art, Fire Dragon Devil Art, and Flame Flower Path all reach Art Star level. He gets extra levels too. Meanwhile, the Northern Heavenly Lord unleashes his full power for a huge attack. Dark energy cracks the ground. His body sinks into the mud. The Firefist King looks surprised. The Northern Heavenly Lord curses, die, all of you. The dark power grows stronger. The Firefist King prepares to block it. Suddenly, Jean steps in front. He tests a new martial art. Even the master is stunned. In his mind, the master thinks, transcendent level power. Jean uses his new chi to shatter the dark energy from Drag's claw. A massive explosion erupts. The Northern Heavenly Lord stares in shock. How is this possible? The Northern Heavenly Lord gritted his teeth in rage. Fine, he thought. This time I'll kill you for sure. Dark demonic energy exploded around his body. Blood ran from his eyes. He roared, come on. The Firefist King placed a hand on Jean Taekyung's shoulder. Jean looked at him and started to speak. Old man, the Firefist King cut him off calmly. Explain later. First, we kill this bastard. Jean grinned when he heard that. Together, master and disciple charged at the Northern Heavenly Lord, you're finished. They shouted as they attacked. Jean Taekyung and the Fire King attacked at the same time with their golden flames. The Demon Lord barely dodged. He tried to strike back, but the Fire King used a wall of fire to block the attack. The Demon Lord got angry. Blood dripped from his mouth. He shouted, I am the faithful servant of the Heavenly Demon Lord. As long as he protects me, even death can't touch me. The Fire King and Jean Taekyung didn't care about his words. They rushed in again. The Fire King sneered, what nonsense is this idiot talking about? Jean Taekyung raised his spear and laughed, heavenly. Sounds more like underground trash. Bark louder, you dog. The Demon Lord covered his hands with dark aura and blocked every attack. Then he released a powerful wave of dark energy. It pushed the Fire King back and knocked Jean Taekyung's spear away at the same time. Both of them slid backward, surprised for a moment. Jean Taekyung glared and yelled, how dare you touch me? He punched the Demon Lord in the face with a fist of golden flame. At the same instant, the Fire King kicked the Demon Lord's face hard and shouted, do I look weak just because I'm old? Suddenly, many golden spears flew toward the Demon Lord from all sides. He used his dark aura to block them, but while he was focused on the spears, the Fire King appeared behind him. Got time to look away? The Fire King said with a grin, before the Demon Lord could turn. A burning fist smashed into his stomach. His armor cracked and broke. He spat blood and screamed in pain. Furious, the Demon Lord gritted his teeth and swung his arms wildly. Dark energy exploded everywhere. Rocks shattered, the ground split, and stones flew in all directions. Thick dust covered the whole area. When the dust finally settled, the Demon Lord stood there breathing heavily. He had used too much power and looked tired. Then, out of nowhere, Jean Taekyung jumped in front of him, spear ready. At the same moment, the Fire King appeared on the other side. Fist covered in fire. Both of them stared at the Demon Lord with burning golden eyes, done playing around? They asked together. The Demon Lord had no time to react. He only had a second to think of the Heavenly Demon Lord. Then two huge attacks hit him from both sides. He flew backward, crashed hard into the wall, and fell to the ground. Jean Taekyung turned to the Fire King. Is it over? The Fire King watched the burning body carefully and answered, no. Never let your guard down. Remember the Blood Lord? He got back up too. Demon Lord body was covered in golden flames. His clothes burned away, and steam rose from his skin. Suddenly, a deep, terrifying voice echoed through the air. It struck Jean Taekyung and the Fire King like thunder. How dare you worms try to kill my servant? The voice roared. A blood-red aura exploded around the Demon Lord. His muscles grew huge and strong. The voice kept speaking, cold and cruel, I have descended from the highest heaven to the deepest earth. Everything, from the lowest creature to the greatest king, will kneel before me. The Demon Lord stood tall, wrapped in that bloody aura. Jean Taekyung stared in shock and confusion. What the hell is going on now? The Fire King's eyes went wide. No way. The Heavenly Demon Lord? The Heavenly Demon Lord took full control of the Demon Lord's body. He shouted, worship me. The blood-red aura grew even bigger. It rushed toward Jean Taekyung and the Fire King like a wave. Submit to my almighty power. The voice boomed. Both men felt fear crawl up their spines as the dark aura slowly surrounded them. Jean Taekyung shouted, what the hell is this? In moments, the bloody aura swallowed them and the whole area. Everything turned pitch black, then, a bright light cut through the darkness. It came from Jean Taekyung's sword. With one powerful slash, he broke straight through the bloody aura and sent the light flying toward the Demon Lord, boom. The slash hit the Demon Lord dead on. A massive explosion shook the ground. Dust filled the air. Rocks fell from above. When the dust finally cleared, the demon lord was still standing in the same spot. Jin Taekyung could barely stay on his feet. He was breathing hard, sweating, teeth clenched. Enough already. Just die. He yelled. But the demon lord only smiled, a deep wound appeared on his body. The heavenly demon lord's voice spoke one last time. Interesting. Very interesting. We'll meet again. Right after those words, the demon lord's body cracked and broke into pieces, falling to the ground like broken stone. At the same moment, Jin Taekyung's legs gave out. He dropped to his knees. The Fire King rushed over. Damn it. Are you okay? Jin Taekyung looked up weakly and asked, Master. How was it? The Fire King frowned, confused. How was what? Jin Taekyung gave a small, tired smile. That one slash. Pretty awesome, right? Then he fell forward onto the Fire King's chest. The Fire King froze for a second, surprised. Then he gently held Jin Taekyung and looked at him warmly. He let out a soft laugh. Yeah. It was damn awesome. The whole area slowly crumbled around them as the fight finally ended. Heavy rain poured down, and thick smoke drifted across the area. Two men stood on a rooftop. The younger man asked, Right, what's the situation inside? The older man, the captain, answered, It's not over yet. About 100 of them are still alive. What? That many left? The younger man said, shocked. Why haven't our men wiped them out? What the hell are they doing? The younger man covered his face and said, The ones still fighting are elite warriors. But those crazy Tang clan guys charged in with powerful thunder bombs and blew themselves up. The captain snorted. Ha, insane bastards. What's the first squad leader doing then? He should be strong enough to handle it. He's fighting the Sword Saint's successor deep inside the main hall. The younger man replied. After one of our brothers got his head blown off while delivering news about the thunder bombs, nobody dares to go near. I see, the captain said. The younger man that covered his face again added, Captain. The vice leader asked about the brothers we sent to Chongxiang and Ami. The captain answered, no news yet from Chongxiang. We only got a message from Ami. Things aren't going well there either, those beggar clan bastards keep interfering. Before he could say more, the captain noticed something in the distance. He waved his hand to quiet the younger man and stared toward the trees. What's that? The captain asked. Suddenly, a flash of light shot toward them from the darkness. The younger man barely had time to shout, Captain, it looks like a person. A bullet struck the captain in the head. He dropped dead instantly. The younger man spun around and yelled, Captain. At the same moment, the other men on the rooftop were shot in the head one by one and fell. The surviving enemies below looked up in panic, pointed their swords at the wall, and shouted, Who's up there? What's going on? More shots rang out. Every man who looked up or shouted was hit in the head and died. In seconds, the mysterious shooter on the rooftop killed them all. He stood hidden in the shadows, untouched by the pouring rain and thunder. The storm did not bother him at all.